is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havel's Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havel's.
Moda. Make something quilty with Moda fabrics. Hey everybody, thanks for watching Quilty. I'm Mary Fons and I'm here with Emily Bruzzini. Hi Emily.
Hi Mary.
How are you doing?
Fine.
Good. You're a new guest on the show, and today is a This Is My Quilt episode, and you have brought a quilt to share, and we're going to talk about this gorgeous monochromatic quilt in just a second. First, I want to ask you about yourself. What do you do for work?
I'm a substitute teacher, and my degree is in art education, so it's a lot of fun to teach kids.
Absolutely. And you said you actually, from time to time, have to substitute other classes, and that can be really fun. You were playing with a parachute the other day.
Oh, yes, parachutes, gym. I love music class. And then, you get to be a regular ed teacher, do, first grade, third grade, any grade.
Every day is different. That's like my job too, in a very different way, but I like that, so we're similar.
Yeah, it's nice to get to do something different every day.
Absolutely. I think artistic people really crave that sometimes. It's harder for us to do the same thing every day. And you live in the Chicagoland area?
Yep.
And we met. Can you tell the folks where we met?
Well, we met at the Chicago Modern Quilt Guild meeting.
Yes.
So it was really exciting to see you there, and I don't remember when you came, but it was...
This summer. It was like this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cool. You get to meet a lot of other like-minded quilters, and it was nice.
Guilds are great. Some people love them. Some people, they're not so much into it, whatever. You find out what works for you. But the Modern Quilt Guild in Chicago is really great. I would go to more meetings if I could, but I will be back soon. And yeah, I met you there, and you're a screen printer. And anyway, it's just great to meet all those quilters at those guild meetings. And
we're friendly.
Yes,
you should come.
Very friendly. We'll put the web address up there for the Modern Quilt Guild, the umbrella site, so people can check that out. And there's all kinds of guilds all over, modern and otherwise. So, okay, so let's get to the quilt. We've got it on the table because it's a little smaller. We didn't hang it up behind us. Tell me about this quilt.
Well, this quilt, I made it as part of a challenge held by the Modern Quilt Guild. And they were having a series of challenges, I think this was in 2011, where you had to were given some guidelines and then you made a quilt.
Sure. So they give you the framework and then you get to go crazy within that framework.
Yeah, and then you had to have it entered by a certain day, which was, deadlines.
Oh, yeah.
But this particular challenge was to do a monochromatic quilt. So I chose yellow, and mainly because I'm a big fan of this color right here.
This gold. What did you say it was called?
Papaya. It's a Kona color.
And it was like the launching board?
Yes, it was the launch, and I tried to use it a lot in the quilt and kind of use these lighter, less saturated colors to kind of break it up, but use these dark colors mainly.
Right, and to give it that depth. I mean, you have a great sense of color anyway, I can tell, because I've seen your other work too, and I've seen your screen printing. But this is a really cool challenge because if you get if you're working monochromatically, I'm not going to say it's hard to go wrong. You've clearly created a gorgeous quilt, but you know what I mean? Like if you're working all in greens,
it's the value.
Exactly.
It's the value of the color that really makes a difference. And so this includes 14 different solid fabrics.
Really?
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like that many. I mean, it's like
this is actually a different color.
Oh, yeah,
it's very close. It's they're similar, but they do kind of give a different feeling. I was going for kind of a dappled sunlight look.
I was hoping you'd say that because you said that to me before. I was like, it's like dappled sunlight. You're right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and so I waited until a week before the deadline.
Of course.
Because I was just like, I don't have time for this. And then I was like, oh no.
I gotta do it.
I bought all that fabric and I should really make a quilt with it. So I used up all the fabric that I bought to make this size. It's about a 50 by 60. But
look at the back.
Oh, yeah. The back is kind of a bigger version of the front.
Yeah. And you used all your fabric? Like you were like,
I used it all.
Cashed? Yeah.
And I improv pieced the whole thing.
Tell me about that and about the quilting too. So what is improvisational piecing?
So improvisational piecing is kind of just where you choose to just do what you want. You're free. You sew things together and just see where it leads you.
Right. There's not a traditional block by block approach.
Yeah, there's no traditional block. And if you look in here, you can kind of pick out, where I have sewn areas together.
Sure.
This is kind of a log cabin. But then there's a big seam down here. And in improvisational piecing, you can usually disguise the seams by putting colors that are really similar next to each other, so you can't really see a definitive line. But I wanted this to look like, a bright sunny day, dappled sunshine, and
And we're going to talk, Emily's going to join us on another episode and talk about improvisational piecing, and we're going to do some, and there's another example behind us, a quilt that I hope we have more time with too. But yes, this improvisationally pieced quilt definitely gives it that scattered sunshine look. And then the quilting too, I think it also adds to that idea. I mean, it's sort of, it's improv lines of quilting too, right?
Yeah, so it's a little bit easier to see on the back. They're just kind of just lines that are organic, just going kind of vertically down the quilt. And again, it kind of like sunshine, but
absolutely.
It was just really easy. It has a hanging sleeve.
Hanging sleeve. Yeah, that's great. That's a good thing. We need to do a show on hanging sleeves. Remind me. Not you, them. But it's a great quilt, Emily. Just fantastic. And thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing it. It's a really great quilt and a great example of the modern quilt guild style, the modern quilt style that's so popular and I think so incredibly great for everyone. Traditional quilters, new quilters, rookies, young, old, whatever. If people are quilting, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
Nice work, Emily.
Nice to meet you.
We'll see you next time on Quilty.
Quilty is brought to you by
APQS, handcrafted quilting machines. Aurifil Italian thread, perfectly suited for all your quilting projects. Baby Lock, for the love of sewing.
Havel's Sewing. When you need to cut it close, choose Havel's.
Moda, make something quilty with Moda fabrics.